And I am Mel Barrett, and welcome to NewsLIGHT. If you're here, thank you, truly. Because choosing to spend part of your evening talking about politics in 2026 is a bold personal choice. This show is loosely inspired by Abby Phillips' CNN panel show NewsNIGHT, whose tagline is, Americans with different perspectives aren't talking to one another, but here they do. Mine is a little different, a little more honest. Americans with different views aren't talking to one another, but here they try. Kinda. Because look, we're living in a moment where people don't just disagree. You know, they block, they mute, they unfriend, they assume intent, they flatten each other into caricatures, and somewhere along the way, we forgot how to actually sit in discomfort long enough to listen. So that's what this space is. It's not gotcha journalism, it's not viral dunking, it's not performative outrage, it's real conversation. I come from investigative journalism and long-form storytelling. I care about facts. I care about sourcing. I care about power. I care about who gets hurt when narratives get sloppy. And I care about creating rooms where people can speak freely, honestly, without being shouted into silence. Tonight's panel is made up of people I know well, people I trust, people who probably align with me on more than a few things. And that's intentional for tonight's show. You don't start a new show by throwing gasoline on it. But this is just the beginning. The goal here is to build something harder and more interesting, bringing in voices with different views, not to stage cage matches, but to have ethical, good faith debate, the kind that assumes humanity first, the kind that allows complexity, the kind that doesn't require anyone to become a meme. We're not here to win. We're here to understand what the hell is actually happening in this country and why. Some nights it'll be serious. Some nights it'll be messy. Some nights we'll laugh, because if we don't laugh, we're all going to need a group therapy punch card. But every night we're going to try to be real. So welcome to NewsLIGHT. Let's meet tonight's panel and let's get into it. Welcome, everybody. That wasn't live. That was pre-recorded. I am Mel Barrett. Welcome to NewsLIGHT. I would like to invite my guests to the stage. We're going to start with Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Maggie Freleng. I'm going to bring Ellyn in next. Ellyn is Hi, Ellyn. Ellyn from Broadway and the amazing I Think Not podcast. We love you, Ellyn. Happy to be here. And we have a special guest tonight who, how do I explain who Thomas is? Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Hey.
Thomas is Ellyn Marsh's life partner. Is that okay to say that? He's one of my favorite people that I've recently met. When Thomas and I sit down, and we always talk about politics. So Thomas was someone I wanted to have on the show right off the bat. He is and I'm saying this because I think it's important. He's a union plumber from Long Island. Right. So
that's right.
we got the straight white dude in the house. At least I think you're straight. I don't know. We got the white dude in the house who's a plumber, and he's going to give us his perspective. Now, if you look at Thomas, you probably think he's pretty MAGA. But he's not.
I know I did.
Was that what attracted you to him, Ellyn? Was it like a hate fuck or something?
No, I was stoned and collecting content for our live show. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then he slid into my DMs and I started giving him shit about being MAGA. He's like, whoa. But plumber, truck,
really?
tattoos. Yeah, I assumed we would not align.
I'm glad you did align, because I love Thomas and I'm so happy he's in my life now. We've spent Thanksgiving and my 50th birthday together. Aww. And he dealt with my crazy cousins and all of our singing and Broadway shenanigans. And so, yes, I'm happy that Thomas is in my life. I'm happy you guys are in my life too, but Thomas is new. So
thanks, Mel.
Anyway, all right.
Can I just real quick, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And your family was awesome. Everyone's family's crazy. And your cousins were awesome. So
even though I almost knocked Ellyn's tooth out with a fake microphone while we were playing a very intense game of grab the mic, I almost knocked her tooth out. I warned her beforehand.
Never play a game with Mel. She is the single-handed most competitive person, and I am the opposite of competitive. I just laugh the whole time.
You say that.
I I'm just good at things. You know what I mean?
Say that.
I know. I feel like I would think you're competitive, Ellyn.
But I'm not. But I'm just good at games. I can't help it.
That's true. You are good at games, but let me just explain. Grab the Mic is a game where someone shows a card with one word on it, and the word could be what, and whoever can grab the plastic microphone and sing a song with the word what in it wins. Mm-hmm. And Ellyn was diving across the table. As
lies and false.
No, I mean, you're so competitive. I think that it's just you're being demure. You're being demure about this.
I can't help it that I'm just really good.
She almost punched me in the face. Let's be real. You came across.
Exactly. I remember that.
I'm gonna grab the microphone. But yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I won, by the way. If anyone was curious, if that's a question, I did win.
She won, but mainly because she cheated, because she tried to grab the microphone out of my hand. And as a result of that, karma hit her squarely in the face because the microphone snapped back and she hit herself in the face and almost took her tooth out. So,
you know what's funny is I heard you tell Rebecca all of this on your podcast.
Something's off. So the reason why I started this channel, so you guys know, I mean, it's obviously a baby. Everyone who's in the chat, please go like the video so we can get the algorithm going. Our audience on Something's Off was getting a little annoyed with me because I would insert my politics, not in a big way, just sort of can you believe this thing happened? And everyone was like, hey, we're here for the true crime murders, but not the politics, Mel. So I was like, I need to find a place where I can openly speak about politics till my heart's content. And that's why I invited you guys all on. So
which you know that I will go to the mat any day and say you can't talk about true crime without talking about politics. So I just think that argument is absolutely asimine.
It's not an argument. It's a non-argument.
It's not an argument.
It just means you're ignorant.
It goes hand in hand.
Go ahead, Thomas.
No, it goes hand in hand. And and also besides the true crime, just if people aren't talking about what's going on, I can't be with you. We're not on the same level. There's two, I don't know, maybe I care too much, but this is all really important. This is huge.
Yeah. To me, it always feels like when someone's like, oh, can we stop talking about politics? It's because you voted a certain way and you don't want to hear about all the horrors that are happening because of the way that you voted. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's my opinion. So speaking of horrors, we're going to start off with a bang. We're going to talk about the Epstein Files. I've got three major topics that I want to talk about tonight. I pulled up a few examples of Epstein File news. And then I also want to talk about the SAVE Act, which is super important. And it's about our voting rights. And the House has already approved this act, which is crazy. And it's heading to the Senate. So it's really important. And then I want to get into a little bit of the Bondi shenanigans. So let's start off with the Epstein Files. Let me pull up my notes real quick. Hold on. All right. So I have put together a list of some of the people who, and I'm putting this in air quotes, some of the people who have been sort of held accountable. I don't know if that's a real thing, but basically we're talking about, by accountability, we're talking oh shit, they stepped down from their positions over this because they were in the Epstein Files. Obviously Jeffrey Epstein is dead. We can talk about whether we think he was murdered or he died by suicide in prison.
Or if he's still alive.
Or if he's still alive.
Absolutely right.
I see Ellyn and I are thinking the same.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I am too. I understand. And then there's Ghislaine Maxwell, who is in prison, although we're not sure if she's in prison anymore because of the videos that just recently came out where she looks like Mike Myers in a really bad wig during her, pleading the fifth deposition. So those two people have been, I guess, held accountable in some way. But then there's Darren Indyke. And his last name is Indyke, which I think is hilarious because it's literally spelled Indyke. So he is Indyke. Epstein's longtime lawyer and estate executor, although not criminally convicted, has been legally held financially accountable through civil suits up to $105 million. So that's one guy, I guess. There's the former Secretary General of the Council of Europe. I'm going to go ahead and try to pronounce his name, but, bear with me. It's Thorbjorn Jagland. And I think he probably lives on a fjord.
Isn't that's like the cook from the Muppets, I think?
I think so.
I think that
lives on a fjord.
I think you're exactly right.
We've had some resignations. Thomas Pritzker. I'm interested in the connection from Thomas Pritzker to JB Pritzker. That's interesting to me. He stepped down as executive chair of Hyatt Hotels. Kathy Rumler was a former Goldman Sachs legal chief, and she resigned over scrutiny. She was also a lawyer in the Obama administration. I think she was one of his top lawyers. Brad Karp, who was a former Paul Weiss chairman, resigned amid the fallout. Casey Wasserman, this is ongoing. Casey Wasserman is a huge, like, A-list Hollywood executive talent agency or
is
talent
that the one
agent.
Who Chapel Roan?
Yeah.
Yes. And Abby Wambach. So he stepped down. He's actually selling his agency. But here's the thing. He's still on the committee for the 2028 Olympics. He's like the head of the committee for the 2028 Olympics. And state officials are asking him to resign. And the Olympics committee is saying, no, we don't really feel the need for him to resign. Then we have Peter Attia, who is that like longevity health advisor hack dude.
Yeah.
And Barry Weiss
connected to Harvard in some way, or
no, it's a different guy.
Okay,
no,
because I know there was a lot of Harvard people in.
Yeah,
there were a lot of Harvard people, including always Alan Dershowitz, who is at this point in time trying to change the laws so that it's not pedophilia if someone is 14 or under.
Right.
I mean, or I'm sorry, 18 and under. So basically 14 is the age of the cutoff. And he's saying that Jeffrey Epstein is not a pedophile, which is news to me. So we've had a bunch of like fallout. We've had Peter Mandelson, who was part of the Labour Party in the UK and had ties to Epstein. He was the ambassador to the United States. He's actually being investigated. And then we've also had the Sultan.
Did you see his hearing?
I haven't seen his hearing yet. No, but we can absolutely talk about it.
Well, no, there's not much to talk about. He answered questions. I just thought you should know.
He answered questions. Like they were holding him accountable, like oversight, and he answered the questions. Amazing. I didn't know that could happen. The big one, I think, is Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, who stepped down as CEO of DP World. He is the AUE. Is that right? He is being investigated. I believe he's also been arrested. So people all over the world are sort of taking this seriously, unlike our country.
Not us. Yeah.
I'm going to start with Maggie. Maggie, can you give me your sort of top of the line thoughts about all this?
I mean, my top of the line thoughts are none of it is surprising because we just knew. Women know, especially folks in true crime. I could go on forever. Like I was yelling last time about the Franklin sex scandal in Bohemian Grove. Like these have always been things. I think what I'm just surprised about is having this kind of confirmation that it exists, because it's always just been that kind of legend and rumor and oh my God, turns out that Eyes Wide Shut was a documentary. So I think for me, I'm grappling with that and the fact that, I've been reading a lot of think pieces about how our girlhood, specifically mine, Ellyn, you were probably a bit too old.
Okay.
Very millennial. All right, girl, you tell me if you were shopping at Limited 2. You were probably like 21. There was no way you were shopping at Limited 2.
Just keep talking. Keep my name out your mouth. You know what I mean?
But these are companies that Les Wexner owned, and how, my version of girlhood, and Ellyn, I'm sure, your generation had a different one, but like Lex Wexner crafted that with Abercrombie and Fitch and Bath and Body Works and Limited 2 and Victoria's Secret. So it's really that I'm processing,
Yeah, Thomas, how are you feeling about it? I mean, and I'm going to probably ask you a lot of questions that start with, as a white man, how are you feeling about this? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, so people the fact that America and the United States as a country aren't going after anybody is so confusing, right? Because there was pretty much only one thing I could get behind when it came to Trump, right? And it was releasing the Epstein Files. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of guys like me, I hear more and more people, guys at work, right, and guys that voted for Trump, them not going after anybody is a big problem. And luckily, the rest of the world is pulling their weight and trying, but this is. It's scary. It's scary to think that rich, powerful men can get away with doing anything they want. Really, it's scary.
You and I have talked whenever we sit down and talk about, you always talk to me about your experience with the guys you work with and how you often step in when you hear someone being racist or homophobic. Are you hearing people talk like on job sites and stuff like that about the Epstein files? And do you think that he's starting to bleed his base?
So, I mean, there's the loyalists are going to be loyal, Mel, no matter what. I think some of these guys, I think would take their child and hand their kid over to Trump. Like, no joke. Damn. Like, they just look at him as a god, and it's scary. For someone like me, you know, a critical thinker, no politician is I'm never gonna be that loyal. You know what I mean? To a politician. They come, they go. But it's I think that they are losing a base for sure. You know, anybody at this point that is still like, you might as well be a pedophile in my book. You know, if you're still walking around in a red hat and you're still screaming and yelling and standing up for him, you might as well be a pedophile, and you're not going anywhere near my children. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I feel you. Ellyn, I'm sure you don't have any thoughts on this, so we could probably just skip over you.
I don't usually have a lot of thoughts. I'm pretty good with the flow and soft-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought our collective hard stop would be raping children.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be the one thing that was unanimously not partisan.
And would unite us. Like it,
it would unite us. That was the thing, because for anybody who can't zoom out and see that part of the whole operation is dividing us so ceremoniously. I mean, I'm sorry that you can't see that, but yeah, nobody is being held accountable. And quite frankly, great that all those billionaires are stepping down or doing whatever. Great that you want to have the Clintons sit down. I actually just care about the people that are in power now. Mm-hmm. The billionaires, everybody needs their time, but those headlines that you just rattled off would have been a lot more moving to me had they been the men that they have been trying to protect this whole time. I mean, Pam Bondi damn near broke down in tears. She's so in love with Trump and was ready to back him. Mm-hmm. So I'm constantly shocked at how shocked that this is not the one thing we can all agree on. This is some dystopian bullshit.
Well, you know why I'm not shocked, Ellyn? Because when we watched with our eyes babies being blown up in Palestine and that didn't end a genocide, why would those same people care about raping children? They do not. It's all connected. So when we gave the green light to murder children, and of course we heard awful sexual abuse stories coming out of Palestine and Gaza.
Right,
it
but
does
Maggie,
not surprise me.
You have a world view. You have a big.
But I mean, but the reason there's no accountability, like the politicians are doing, it's the same people doing all of this.
But wouldn't you think that because they are white babies, that those people, because those brown babies don't matter to those people. I'm talking about the MAGA base that can't get behind it. So when it was brown kids, well, I don't really know about, but like even the white kids don't. Wow, where's your pro-life? So.
Yeah. And let's be clear, this isn't just the Trump administration. This goes back probably to the Bush era.
Absolutely. And burn it all down. I don't care.
I keep hearing if we expose everyone in these files, it's going to implode our world. I don't give a fuck. Implode the world, because these people should not be allowed to hang on to their power the way that they are. And what this really comes down to, I'm disgusted and horrified by the things that I've read in the files that have happened to girls. And I'm really sick of people saying young women, because they weren't. Some of them were like 17, 18. They're kids, they're babies.
That's a child.
There are girls as small as 9 years old, and even
I don't know
infants.
Who made up who 18-year-olds being adult. Like, this is a crazy law we need to revisit, because you're a child until you're 25. I don't give a shit what you say. You are a child till you're 25.
You do not have a fully formed brain until you are 25 years old, which we can get into.
It's more like 32 now.
I mean, that would make sense to me, because I was a dumbass until I was like in
2
my
weeks
30s.
Ago.
Hey, I'm 50. I'm 50. No, so I just I'm sick of that narrative that, well, there weren't that many kids, or if we expose everyone, the world implodes. Implode the fucking world. We're a mess right now. And this is about pedophiles and all this shit. But really what it comes down to is the haves and have nots. It's the elites versus the rest of us. And we've really got to wrap our brains.
Their status quo, which is why they can't have the system crumble.
Absolutely. And we need to wrap our brains around that because, I am completely sidetracked by all of the murder and the sexual assaults and the raping of children. But I'm realizing that was only a byproduct of who these people actually are and what they actually do. This was one of those things where they were just pooling all these resources and all this money and just living this life, including people like Elon Musk, including people like Richard Branson, including the Clintons, including Trump. All these people, they were engaging. It's like when you get to a place where you have that much money, they're like, how far can we push the boundaries? And the guy who's going to manage all of our money, like, he did for Lex Wexner, Epstein, is the pedophile. And this is what he does. So we sort of have to accept it. Although some of us are kind of into it. Hey, let's try it. And then and just one other point, I am devastated and sick. And I know it happens all the time, but all of these women who were accomplices, who were in the files, who lifted these men up, and who also engaged, like Ghislaine did, in sexually assaulting and raping children. What the fuck are we doing? Barry Weiss's wife is canoodling. Yes. Barry Weiss of CBS, if you don't know who she is, her wife is canoodling with Epstein and talking about women in a sexual way. And I'm like, I don't claim you as a lesbian. Sorry, get the fuck out. I don't understand what women are doing. Anybody?
No, but it comes Bondi, Caroline Leavitt. You couldn't have these powerful men getting away with what they're doing without these wormy, slithering, spineless women enabling them. What they're getting out of it, power, status, that's what they want.
We know those kind of women. We all know those kind of women, the pick-me women. And Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have been Jeffrey Epstein without Ghislaine. And I was talking to someone the other day that, she only got 20 years. He would not have been able to do what he did without her because she was the fake nurturer, caregiver, because if there's a woman standing there and say, come here, come talk to this man, a little girl is more likely going to listen to a woman than she would listen to a man.
Well, and
so
they were
ostensibly,
smart.
The women are more powerful than the men in that situation.
For sure.
And then she turned those girls into, the victims, then became traffickers themselves. It was a cycle that it couldn't have been done without the women.
And I find with this administration, he's put women in positions of power, like Caroline Leavitt, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, AG Bondi, all that stuff. And I feel like they did that so they could hide behind the women's skirts. And also, if something really bad happened, they could just blame it on the women.
Yes.
And not that I have any, I don't feel sorry for any of these women at all because they sold themselves out for this administration. But to me, it seems like they've put these women in charge of these departments so that they can take the fall when something goes wrong and they can be blamed. I had one other thing about the Epstein files that I wanted to talk about. A couple of things. Two things. The Zorro Ranch Truth Commission, they just voted in New Mexico that they are going to start investigating the grounds of Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Because in the files, there's an allusion to, they're alluding to there might be bodies buried there on the ranch. What do you think, Ellyn? What do you think this starts as far as accountability is concerned? Do you think they're going to find anything? What are your expectations of what's going to come out of this?
I think they absolutely will, but you keep mentioning that word. It's so hard for me to process accountability.
Right.
I am of the thinking that they have made it very clear. Here are the Epstein files. Here's all this information. Go spin yourselves out in your own personal little echo chambers. We've already told you we're not going to do anything, but have fun with that anxiety, double up on your meds, and best of luck to all involved. Right. I don't think anything in this country of substance will happen. I'm sorry if people are like looking to us to be like, no, the good guys are going to win in the end. No, we're not.
What do you think about it, Thomas? Do you think that, I mean, is there going to be any accountability? Does this start like a chain reaction of other people like having the courage to go investigate, or no?
Well, my question is, who's doing the investigating on the ranch? Like, so I'm asking that genuinely. So who did they say? The FBI? Like, who's doing?
I thought the ranch was privately owned too. Like, how are they getting? Yeah, I guess I'm.
They passed a law. Right? So hold on a sec. Let me pull. You guys keep talking. I'm going to pull up my research. Hold on a sec.
So if it, like I said, it depends on who's doing the investigating. I mean, you can't depend on the FBI for anything. We know that. Yeah, no. Kash Patel's a piece of shit. He's not gonna do right by anybody. Right. So, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get the results that we want. I mean, like Ellyn said, I don't want to sound like, the downer, but yeah. I don't think anybody's gonna be honest until we get the right people in there. Okay,
so this is what I'm finding from local news sources, which is Source New Mexico. The New Mexico House on Monday voted unanimously to establish an investigatory subcommittee to examine the activities of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein at his former Zorro Ranch in Santa Fe County. The bill's sponsor, State Rep Andrea Romero, who's a Democrat, said the subcommittee will use their subpoena powers, public records, and testimony to put the whole story together. The legislation requires 4 representatives from both major parties to sit in on the subcommittee. The subcommittee, which runs through the end of the year, can be extended if needed, and will have a budget of $2 million, all funded by a 2023 settlement between Attorney General Raul Torres and several financial services companies for failing to identify the abuses at the ranch. So they aren't really saying anything about actually like going and digging things up, but it sounds like they are going to sort of match up the records with what may have happened at the ranch. And I would assume if they have any probable cause, they'll be able to move in. But I hope it's going to be local. I hope you're right, Thomas. I hope it's not the FBI, because Kash Patel, I mean, he's already lied.
I think that would be the point, right?
Himself in front of Senate.
He said that that the only sex traffickers in the Epstein files were Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And I'm like, brother.
And Trump was only mentioned like maybe 100 times, is what he said.
Yeah. Right. 38,000 that we know of, although Jamie Raskin has said over 1 million times.
They say over 1 million is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So who were these people trafficking to? Who were the customers? If it was just the two of them.
Too, the demand for this kind of perversion doesn't just stop. So
right. Who's running it now?
Who is running it now, which goes back to, are they even alive? But there's 2 things I also want to just like point out, Mel, if we have time.
Absolutely. We have plenty of time.
Pam Bondi was attorney general in Florida for a time. So she could have a while ago prosecuted Epstein and
Alex
Trump,
Acosta.
And she didn't. So she was been a loyalist for a minute. So when people want to know, how is this happening? I mean, it starts local in Florida. Second thing I want to point out too is that the way all of this happened is also so nefarious, not even just the rollout, but the way we were like kamikaze psyoped into thinking things like Pizzagate were fake. And, what's come out in all of these emails is that it seems like Epstein and Ghislaine were behind so much of these culture wars. Ghislaine on Reddit, whereas Epstein was on Paul, the politics website. I think it was on 4chan maybe.
4chan on one of those. /poll is what it was. Yeah, and he basically, what you're saying is absolutely right. They maneuvered all of us. They maneuvered us during the 2016 election.
This was crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. It's nuts. I would encourage anyone in the audience. We're going to get to some of the chat a little bit later. You guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I will get to them in just a little bit. I am watching and I am starring what you're saying. But he and Ghislaine, I mean, this guy got kicked off of Xbox Live. He was a gamer because he was harassing like the kids he was playing against. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein. He was responsible for /poll, which is basically like a sub, it's not Reddit, it was 4chan, but it kind of like started this whole incel movement.
Yes.
That started around 2016 and all these people started getting really angry and really started like going into their, polar opposites and staying there. And that's what we're seeing still to this day. 10 years later, I am watching pundits sit there in their corners with their talking points and unable to hear anybody else. Even on this Epstein stuff, the amount of people who are still defending Trump. And honestly, like this guy was on, Trump Force One or whatever the fuck he's calling it these days. And he literally told reporters that he has been exonerated. I want to play that video for you guys really quick. Ready? All right, hold on. Let me add this to the stage. Oh shit, can I not do that?
Someone made a really good point in the chat. I just want to say they're talking about Indigenous children in Canada and how, we've known for so long about residential boarding schools and those abuses, but so much of it is just coming to light is a really good point.
Yeah, let me see. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with all of you guys on the screen because I don't think I have enough space to do that. Let me see if
You can kick me out, Mel.
I'm going to kick you out for just a second. You know what video I'm talking about though, right, Ellen?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm going to ban her from the studio. Actually, I can't do it. Never mind, Ellen. I can't do it. Yeah. So anyway, I will basically what he said was, I have been completely exonerated and there's nothing to see here in the Epstein files. I mean, I can't believe that we are still, as the Associated Press, as any press person, any journalist, when he's calling women piggies to their face, and when he's, tearing Caitlin Collins down, who's like totally mainstream, asking a generous question about the victims in the Epstein files, and he's like, you should smile more, and not one other journalist in the room is standing up for those people. When I think of the White House press corps, they're supposed to be working as a group. If one person doesn't get their question answered, the next person is supposed to be like, hey, you didn't answer that question. Can you answer that question? They are supposed to, they're a team. Is that right, Maggie? Is that how you understand it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the idea that when he's saying this bullshit, that there's not one person who has the courage in the room to stand up and say, that's not true. They don't even have to say you're lying. They just have to say that's not true. And here's why.
Embarrassing. I was actually having a conversation with my mom last night just about decorum. And I was saying, can you think of another president in her lifetime? Maggie, she's even older than me, if you can believe that, which
no, me too. She's older than me too.
But just think of another president. I was like, Mom, was Nixon like this? And Nixon was a notorious hothead behind closed doors. But can you think of another president who speaks like a 13-year-old boy, insults the press, other politicians? This is why I'm saying we are living in a dystopian world. Can you guys think of any other politician that slings of that? My mom was like, no, Nixon wasn't like that. I mean, he had the scandal, but there is no other president in the history of our country that does not speak with a monicum of decorum. And it is it blows my mind every time he gets on a live microphone. We need to stop giving him microphones.
I mean, I would say that. Yeah, he's horrible. I think that back during the McCarthy era, maybe during the why can't I think of it? The Jim Crow era, we definitely had politicians that were saying the most heinous things but that's because they had been allowed to for so long, and because they were still thinking of Black people as second-class citizens or not even human. So I think that probably that was really ugly politics, but there was so much populism around that during that time that people didn't think of it that way. I feel like he's doing what they did in the Jim Crow South and during the McCarthy era, and he's doing it on this giant stage, and there's 30% of our population that completely agrees with him, and the rest of us are like, what the fuck is going on here? Well, go ahead.
And just Americans don't know, and when we talk about the SAVE Act, we can talk about it. Americans don't know how much people from other countries, it's almost like they have secondhand embarrassment. It's like they were laughing at us. Now, Thomas and I were in Scotland, babe. What did they say everywhere we went when we told them that we were American? What did they say?
I mean, they all kind of had the same reaction, like the open-eyed,
how are you guys doing?
Who are you? And we got to be like, no, not us. It was them.
It's just, it's embarrassing.
What are you hearing? I kind of asked you this question before about like, if he's draining any kind of the MAGA base, Thomas, but when you're at work and you're like stepping in and talking to these guys and sort of trying to educate them, like, what are you hearing right now? Are they still, how do they defend it? How is the cognitive dissonance in this situation? Like, how are they defending it?
That's the thing, is people aren't. Right. Like, so I used to go to work, a year ago, and guys would walk around with their red hats, and everybody was very loud and proud. And, now nobody's talking. Nobody's, like, I can talk openly. Nobody's going to even come for me,
Wow.
Because I think people are embarrassed. I think that most guys at work are not going to be and actually, Ellyn knows the guy that I'm not going to say his name, but I worked side by side with him every day. It was just the two of us, and he openly voted for Trump twice, and then this last time he couldn't bring himself to do it. And I mean, he's I would say we're not all that aligned politically, but he opened my eyes about a lot of things that I never thought about, and I started doing research myself. And yeah, I would say most guys are not talking about it, and they're definitely embarrassed, and as they should be. They voted for a guy that, I mean, it seems like a while ago now, but like, he said he grabs women by the pussy. Like, are you surprised that he's a pedophile?
Shithole countries.
None of us
he showed us who he was a very long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Back
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
80s.
Like, I mean, for me, like, I never gave Donald Trump a thought, right, until 2016. And hearing him talk, I immediately was like, fuck that guy.
I find it really interesting because now that I live in Texas, after being a lifelong New Yorker, politics are very different down here. What people need are different down here. It's just so different moving. And one of the things that I would like to think at this point is that most people who voted for Trump were doing it because they saw the populism and they were thinking that this guy was going to help their pockets. Because what do we know about most Trump voters? They're working class, they're lower income folks, not highly educated. I would like to think those people were not voting for racism. I would like to think that those guys you're with are now embarrassed because they realized they voted for racism when they thought they were voting for their wallets. So I would really I really don't want to think they're all just like the worst people ever. I would say the people now that are still defending Trump certainly are, but just kind of like rationalizing what you're saying. I would like to think they're kind of like, we voted for this populism thing, didn't work out the right way. Like, I would like to think that.
Yeah,
actually,
go ahead, Thomas.
No, I was just going to say, like, you were talking about those voters, like the working class, the poor voters. And I was just saying that, like, I didn't, and I'm not like trying to segue too quickly or anything, but like, I just was reading about the SAVE Act, and, that's going to affect those people, men and women alike, people that are poor, that can't afford driver's licenses and passports and, it's
We'll move into the SAVE Act in just a minute. I want to say one thing to what you just said, Maggie. I disagree with you just a little bit because I don't disagree with you. I want to have the same thought. I want to have the same feeling about my fellow Americans, that they didn't knowingly vote for a racist, that they were really like, maybe it was like they didn't deal with the racism because the economy felt so, like that message felt so strong to them. But I've been saying this since 2016, that's what my hope is. And I don't believe it anymore. I don't believe it. I think it's a line that they tell themselves sometimes to get around the fact that they are racist. And they are homophobic, and they don't want women in the workforce, and they don't want women voting. Like, I do think this idea of like Trump wanting everybody to go back to like the 1950s. There are a lot of men in this country and women in this country who are like, yeah, bring it back. Like, let's do that. This whole like trad wife thing that's happening. There are a lot of people in this country who unfortunately, I think it comes down to religion sometimes. And I don't really want to get too much into religion, but a lot of the
living in Texas, it is religion. I get, as my partner is running as a politician, I get asked religious questions. As a New Yorker, never in my life. That is huge. Again, something I realized leaving New York. Like, that's very important.
Absolutely. And I moved from New England and my senior year in high school to Dallas, Texas, like just outside of Dallas. And I remember I was a soccer player, and we would go out to play a game, and then everybody would kneel before the game and pray. And I'm standing there like, oh, I don't do this. And I got like taken out of games because of it. Like I was, I was punished for not praying with everybody. So I get that. But I think that the sort of Christian values, it's morphed, it's become commercial. It's these big churches, it's, Project 2025. It's all these things where they're basically like, they want the man as the head of the household, and he's the only one that can vote. And the little lady, they have a conversation about it, but at the end of the day, it's the man. I mean, these guys, I'm not making this up. They actually say this in interviews. The Federalist Society, that's what they want. So it comes down to white nationalism, white Christian nationalism. And once I started realizing that, I started thinking this whole economy thing is an excuse, because what you want is a white Christian national state, basically. But I mean, that's a pretty harsh opinion, but I
think that's true. And I think it's both. And I think there are the, blue collar Ohio guys that have no fucking idea what Project 2025 says, right? It's just like an uneducated guy working in Appalachia or whatever. And he's like, I got to fucking make rent for my kids. This guy's talking money. He's talking whatever, the new child, every kid gets money now when they're born, like just some shit that like when you're uneducated. And then, maybe throw in a little white supremacy, and they're like, done. Here we go.
Done. Here we go. Yeah.
Everybody that I mean, like so many guys at work, and it's really the older guys, I would say like 50 and up. But there's so much racist undertone and sexist undertone, and they just can't help it, Mel. Listen, Long Island, New York. These guys can't help it. And then like me, right? Like I'll turn and be like, what'd you just say? Yeah. And they're like almost surprised that I'm like saying something. It's like, no, you can't say that. And
that's what I love about you, Thomas. Yeah. Because those guys aren't used to being called out by their own guys.
Exactly. And maybe that will make them think twice. They're like, oh shit, I can't say that. They've gotten away with it forever.
It does. And some guy, I mean, most of them will like backpedal. Or they'll say something, it's all white guys in the room, and they say something, then I'll be like, oh, you want me to go get Darren? Like, you're not going to say that shit in front of him. I know you're not, and they think it's funny, or that they're joking or whatever, but they're not comedians. They're plumbers. Shut the fuck up, do your job. And if you don't, like, I'm so tired of people telling, immigrants to get out, or people of color to get out. I want them to get the fuck out. They're the problem with this country. They're the ones draining our society. They're the ones, they are the leeches. And it's exhausting trying to manage these fucking old men. And, it's like, you kind of just wish they would die off.
Yeah. Does anybody know if Mitch McConnell's alive? He's in the hospital, right? No one's.
I don't know, because he hasn't.
Nothing. We've heard nothing in like a week. He's been in the hospital for a week. Is he still there? Is he still kicking it? Or
what?
I don't know. Maggie's looking it up.
I can hear
Googling.
I know. I'm like.
Yeah.
The best way to stump any of those guys that like Thomas is talking about, this sort of honestly, my family, my Italian,
my family too.
Bronx
family. That's what I grew up in.
The best way to stump them is just to ask them a single solitary follow-up question.
Like
what? They say something like, the trans kids are coming back, boys and girls. It's like, oh, cool. Do you say more?
Say more. Explain yourself.
Where'd you read that? That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Just one follow-up question.
They talk about like teachers in our school districts like turning kids trans or gay, and I'm like, so why don't you go to a board meeting? Like, where you get if you're really
where do you
worried
get this
about
information?
Yeah, where are you getting this? And I'll say like, where'd you hear it from? And it's just they just get it. It's just all bullshit. They bring shit up and it's all fear. They're all scared. They're all scared of change. They think that there's something wrong. And they're probably all on Grindr too, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
they are. Grindr shuts down during the GOP convention every year.
RNC, yeah.
Yeah, the RNC, yeah. The only other thing I'll say, this is about the elites versus the non-elites. If Elon Musk has so much money that he could basically give every single person on the planet $1 million and still have like 400 million left over or some shit like that. Like, think about that. Mm-hmm. There are 8 people in the world or 10 people in the world who have all the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. And I think we probably need to do something about it. And on that note, let's move in to the SAVE Act. What I want to do is let me just break down a little bit for the audience who doesn't know what the SAVE Act is. This is super important, and I hope you guys will all listen.
Please,
and I hope
in.
that you'll share this information, and for the people who don't know what's going on, especially the people who are of lower means and women in your community, please talk to them about what this is and understand it and get prepared, because the midterms are coming in November and they are very important. I mean, they're always important, but they're super important this year. So basically what they're asking for in the SAVE Act, which the House of Representatives has already voted on and approved, and it's moving to the Senate right now to be voted on. They want documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in order to vote. So before you can register to vote in federal elections under this bill, you would need to provide documentary proof of your U.S. citizenship. Acceptable documents are a U.S. passport, an enhanced driver's license indicating citizenship. So like Real ID, certain military.
No, you cannot use Real ID. You absolutely
to register. To register.
I'm looking on the website. It says, while Real IDs are often assumed to be a reliable proxy for citizenship, that they do not effectively establish it.
It is passport and birth certificate. That is it.
Well, and also military or government ID is showing citizenship status. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me on that one, Ellen. So but birth certificate, naturalization certificate, and it has to be paired with a photo ID. Now, just to break that down, because that's only part of the law, but just to break that down, I, for instance, have been married once, and long story short, my stepfather said that he adopted me and gave me his last name, but he never actually adopted me. So all of my paperwork up until age 18 had that name on it, which was never legal, doesn't match my birth certificate. When the IRS was like, hey, this isn't your name, you got to fix this, I had to go by his last name for a while. Then I got married and I changed my last name, which means I changed my social security card in order to change my last name. In order for me to prove who I am, I would have to change my name. Like I would have to go back. Which costs money. You have to get your social security card changed. You have to have an original with a stamp copy of your birth certificate.
How does this work with people who are married? I'm like not understanding.
So that's the problem. They don't want women voting.
That is the whole thing. If here is the basic scenario. If your passport and birth certificate do not match your photo ID, you do not get to vote. And I do want to make something clear. It's the same conversation I have about ICE. People who are anti-ICE are not anti-strong borders. I am not you need ID to vote. You should identify yourself to have your fair and equal and singular vote. That is not the issue. The issue is the suppression. So women who have changed their names, somebody who has changed, J.D. Vance, his name is
change, like anyone can
Bowman
change their name.
His name's like James Donald Bowman or something.
Right.
If you have changed your name for any reason, if your name is hyphenated, I actually have some numbers I'll pull up. You cannot register to vote. And a passport is a purchased legal document. Everybody gets a birth certificate when they're born. It is free. You leave with that. That is the only piece of identification your whole life you will get for free. In order to get a passport, you have to fill out paperwork. You have to send money. There is a waiting system. So some people are not of the financial means to do that. This is a poll tax. This is completely against the 24th Amendment.
Yes.
When we ratified poll taxing in, was it 64? Whatever it is. It is highly illegal. Essentially, we are charging people to vote. So the poor, the disabled who might not be able to get to a passport office, having a passport is a privilege.
Yes.
We are privileged to have passports to travel to other countries. It is not a necessary document. So the fact that the government is asking for a necessary document, which then let me give you some numbers here of. I took a look. So about as of 2025, only about 45 to 51% of Americans have passports. Then I looked at it state by state, and that number moves drastically. Yeah. Well, New Jersey is 79.9%. Matt ups to New Jersey, but West Virginia, 20.7%. So then for the people who have changed their names, most likely women, to their married names, someone like myself, listen, I always anticipated my divorce, so I never changed my last name, but some of you are romantic out there. The estimated women whose names do not match their birth certificate, Illinois, 2.6 million. New York, 3.8 million. Georgia, 2.3 million. California, over 7 million women whose names do not match. So if the SAVE Act passes, y'all don't get a vote.
Right. I don't get a vote. I mean, I have never in my life contemplated not voting since I turned 18 years old. And the idea, I always bring my ID with me just in case they want to pull some shit. But at the it's not even about me. I'm privileged. I am a white woman in this society, and I can afford to get a passport if I need to, and I can afford to get my driver's license if I need to. It's not just that. They're also trying to get rid of mail-in voting and online voting. Yeah. Now, in counties where the closest polling location is 25 miles or minutes down the road, and you don't have a car, you're not voting.
Yep.
And then you add all of these rules on top of it, and it's think about some of the elderly Black folks in our country who never got a birth certificate. Never got a birth certificate.
Yep.
How do you prove
my mom
who you
doesn't
are?
have a birth certificate.
Right. It's how do you or your records? You were born in the 50s, and the county hall or whatever it is, city hall, burned down in a fire, and your original birth certificate is in there. How do you prove it? And I will just. One of my early jobs in my early 20s was I worked for the passport administration. So I was I was customer service for when people were having a hard time. They'd gotten the letter that they weren't.
You didn't want me on the phone when my passport didn't come a day before I went to Japan. That was
I understand. I felt so bad. I remember dealing with this elderly woman whose brother in the UK had died, and she needed to get over there. And they were holding up her passport because they couldn't prove she didn't have an original birth certificate, and she literally wasn't able to get to her brother's funeral because we couldn't approve her passport. And it's I don't think people understand that if they put this into law, the passport agency, it's a federal agency, they're going to be so overwhelmed with people trying to get passports that it's going to be the worst logjam you've ever seen. And no one's going to get a fucking passport. And then no one's going to be able to vote, which is what they want.
More than that, Mel, you can take that on an even deeper level. Remember when Trump was like, okay, you know what? We'll take ICE out of Minnesota, hand over your voter information. Yeah. Remember that? They're going to profile, because who's in charge of doling out the passports? Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He could click a little button, be like, Dems, boop, nope, you don't get a passport. Listen, I'm going to put on my fucking tinfoil ball gown in a minute. I do not put anything past them. The fact that they wanted that voter information so bad. Oh, God. My boyfriend died.
It's okay.
No, I'm fine. I just don't have the, remember, I'm a plumber, not a podcaster. So I don't have a
you could have rigged something up, brother.
Wait,
I thought I did a pretty good job, but now that
you're doing great.
53
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys do you know where your birth certificates are right now?
I do, because I had to. Yeah, I had to change my name. So I needed my birth certificate. I needed my social security card. I have it all in a folder. I have it all in a file. I know exactly where I have my marriage certificate as well as my divorce certificate. I have all of that because I know that I'm going to show up to vote and some motherfucker is going to be like, you can't vote because you don't. And I'll be like, birth certificate, passport, driver's license. I have it all.
But
a lot of people don't. Yeah.
My mom's house died. I don't know if you know about this. 10 years ago, my mom's house died. Inside joke, it burned down. Gone. We don't have any of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but also people move. People who move a lot. It's in storage. Who freaking knows where your birth certificate is?
Do you guys remember that scene in The Handmaid's Tale, and not just in the book, but in the movie, in the series specifically, when June and her best friend, when they start, when they're sitting in the living room and they're like, all of my money's gone out of my bank account. Where did it go? This is like the first step of that. It's one of my biggest fears because I don't have a male next of kin. My closest male next of kin is an uncle I haven't spoken to in I don't know how many years. And if all my money went to some random uncle, like what the fuck are we doing? This is akin to that. This is saying you can't vote because you went ahead and got married, or you can't vote because you can't afford to get a birth certificate, or you can't vote. And it's designed to hurt poor people and women. And the narrative from this administration is like, oh, here come the Democrats. They don't believe in voter ID. And that is oversimplifying it to make uneducated folks think that that's what we don't believe in America or democracy.
But that's the same thing with ICE. They just want all the illegals to come. Oh, it is oversimplifying what the issue is. That's why I said that from the beginning. You should have ID. This is not about identification. This is a financial blockade to people to stop people and women from voting.
Yeah, sure. What were you going to say, Thomas?
No, but I want to make sure. So when I was reading about the SAVE Act, it said that it would affect mostly women. And Ellyn, what else did you say? Women
and poor people,
right?
and the disabled, people who can't get to
I read
places.
something about the military. And I didn't really understand it completely, and I didn't know if any of you could explain it, or if you saw. But for some reason, it could affect our military as well, members of our military, the SAVE Act.
Well, because they're trying to do away with mail-in voting, and a lot of our military votes absentee, so it's mail-in voting. And so if they do away with mail-in voting, our entire military, when they're overseas or anywhere outside of the country, are not going to be able to vote. I mean, I don't know if the problem is that they only give us bullet points and talking points from their side, right? So the Republicans and MAGA world says, oh, the Democrats don't want voter ID. Why don't they want voter ID? Are they communists? And then the Democrats are like, you guys, if you're a woman, if you don't have money, if you're military, you're not going to be able to vote. This is like a 5-alarm fire. What are we fucking doing? And honestly, I don't trust Mitch McConnell. I mean, I don't trust Schumer to handle this in the Senate. I'll talk about term limits all day. Chuck Schumer needs to get the fuck out.
Yes.
Listen,
absolutely.
Just today, my last two numbers, I called my senators, good old Cory Booker. He is sick of hearing me, but
I'm sick of hearing him and his bullshit.
I'm sick of hearing his bullshit.
Yeah, me too. He's fucking.
He is so mealy-mouthed. He drives me fucking insane. I am so sick of the, well, we got to get along and no, we don't. These guys are playing dirty. It is time for us to also play dirty and get this country back on track, or in some sort of track.
This is so important. And I really am so passionate about. I hope you all enjoyed voting while it was easy, but I do want to say it is so easy to call your senators. You do not need a law degree. You don't need a speechwriter. You need 45 seconds and a pulse. And all you need to do is look up your senator, call them, say your name, say you're a constituent, say that you want them to say, because here's the thing. A lot of people, myself included, we just feel like our voices don't matter. We feel like we're one person screaming all by ourselves. But please hear me when I say this. They count those calls, because they don't listen to probably what you say, but it does become a number that goes on a spreadsheet, and then your senator will be briefed on these numbers. Because midterm elections, look up if your senators are up for midterm elections. Are you from Maine? Because that bitch, what's her name? Susan Collins, she supports this bill, and she's a centrist. And so and she's up for re-election in November. So you guys, this is not a spectator sport. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It's like what Thomas was saying. Like it's all you can talk about. This isn't Netflix. This isn't The Handmaid's Tale. This is for fucking real.
Yeah, and I think
please, like this is huge.
I honestly think because, you know, with what happened in Fulton County and with the, you know, threat that Pam Bondi made in Minnesota about wanting the voter rolls, it is very clear to me that, and we may not even know about what's actually happening. This might just be the tip of the iceberg that we're hearing about. They are going to try to take over the midterm elections and the 2028 elections. Yeah. And the only way for there to be no reasonable doubt whatsoever about what happens in the next two elections is for a massive amount of people to actually get out and vote. And I don't know what to say to those people who are like, ugh, I just don't vote. Ugh, I can't be bothered.
You know, we need to say,
I'm staying out of this one.
I shame them, Mel. I do.
I get it, but I think that sometimes when you shame people in those situations, especially when it comes to voting, they just stick their head in the sand even more.
And okay, let me be honest. So Thomas knows my handyman was over the other day. I have two handyman that come over, and one of them had voted and one didn't.
Handyman.
And he's my handsy man. Ew. And I was like, why didn't you vote? Come on. I was like, it's so easy, you know, and I had a conversation about it. And I was, and he's a black guy. I was like, James, what are you doing? You know? And so I talk about it. I ask, I was like, who did you vote for? And then I fired him and kept Drew because Drew voted.
Yeah, the SAVE Acts should actually scare us all. It's
terrifying. I haven't heard much about it.
Did anybody?
And that should scare everyone because my job is the news and I read the news every day, all day. So I've heard nothing about this.
Yeah, and
that's also
scary.
Overwhelming.
In Texas.
It may be because I'm in Texas. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really, really kind of non-negotiable. I don't know.
One of the things.
I think that was Kelly in the chat said you can also email. Can I just say this to you all? I know that the voicemail box fills up, but actually for some reason, calls are better. Yeah, I know that's scary and everything. If you need to write a script, but a call is actually statistically better than an email.
Absolutely. And there's just a couple of other things that I wanted to say about this. I don't know, and I would encourage anybody, and I don't know if you three have read it yet, but I would go read the affidavit that gave our Justice Department, the magistrate judge signed off on this warrant for them to go in and get these files out of Fulton County. It's literally one of the conspiracy, like one of the election, you know, steal the vote conspiracy guys from 2020. Who now works in our government.
Yes.
Basically was like, yeah, I overheard this thing where they were doing this thing in Fulton and it's a credible lead. And so I gave it to the FBI. That is the only thing that magistrate judge based this warrant on. And that's not okay.
It's like it's like the, what's his name with the Somali daycares in Minnesota.
Exactly.
What's that guy's name?
Exactly. I don't remember, and I don't want to say his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like we need to pay attention. I mean, that's the bottom line. We need to be paying attention to what's going on because it will slip away from us so fast, and we will have no idea. I had a red line. I remember my partner Lindsay and I sat down and we talked about this because I was freaking out as soon as he got elected. I was like, "Do I need to move to Canada? Like, what do I need to do?" And she was like, okay, well, we have kids in high school, you know, we got to figure this out. We're going to have to stay here. So we need to figure out. And she's like, maybe we need to start thinking about what our red lines are. And I was like, well, my red line is when they start jailing journalists. Like that was like one of my, and then Don Lemon got arrested. And I went, oh, fuck, my red line just got crossed. And I'm still sitting here scrolling Twitter and I'm still sitting here like screaming into the void. What the fuck do I do? And I can't move. I can't do it. So how many other people in this country are feeling that way right now? And we have to figure out a way. We have to figure out some small thing that we can do to stay informed and not feel crazy and to be involved. And honestly, I think the only thing that we can do as a population right now, and I'm not talking about left or right, I'm talking about everybody, is we have to overwhelm the voting in November. And whatever happens, as long as it's a fair election. I just don't know if it's ever going to be fair.
I want to disagree with this person who said third party voting is not a good idea. It's actually, that is the softest, spineless position you could take, because the reason we have such shit fucking candidates that no one wants to vote for is because we continually vote for them. So we need to stop doing that and challenge our parties, whichever party you may be, to get better candidates. So that is why we vote third party, because we are telling them, fuck you, stop putting up cops like Kamala Harris, one of the worst fucking candidates besides Hillary Clinton. Horrible candidates. Stop doing it solidly.
But like, do you think that will happen in our lifetime, Maggie?
I do.
Yes,
I think we can,
and I think at minimum we can push them because look at Zoran.
Yeah.
We have pushed, and now New York has that, and that is because people saying, "Fuck you, we're going with the Bernie Sanders. Fuck you, we're going with the Jill Steins," and those parties are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and because more people do not want this partisan bullshit, they want actual thing, whatever party that might be. You know, they know the Dems and the Republicans; they're all establishment, and we need to break that. And everyone can argue about throwing away votes, but you keep voting for the status quo. I'm not going to do that.
Maggie, I agree with you 100%. Me and Ellyn were talking about this the other day, and I was like, stop being a downer. But because my opinion is we have some amazing, young, smart, bright politicians coming out of all over the place. You
so
got
many.
Graham
Plattner is like my freaking guy. I love him. Like those people exist because people that push third party, and we have to keep doing that. And I hope that everyone that listened to this does do that, because how many freaking people, if we get movements going, we have to stop thinking in this binary status quo. Stop it.
Because it's just going to continue. Like
it's like this, and we can complain and vote for Kamala, then complain and vote for Kamala. We're not gonna get out of it until we stop.
Okay, let me play a little bit of devil's advocate here, because what I agree with you, but I think what happens, especially on the Democratic side, is they go, we're so terrified, like we have to keep going with the same thing because it's what we understand and what we know. And then we were also convinced in 2015 and 16 that the folks who voted for Jill Stein and the folks who voted for Bernie Sanders pulled votes away from Hillary Clinton, who the establishment was behind. And because of that, she lost. Like, so I get what you guys are saying. I don't know what the answer is, but I want to say that
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mel. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton lost because of Hillary Clinton. Because
she was a terrible fucking candidate and should not have been
a horrible candidate.
Absolutely
I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good at the polls, but I voted for Hillary Clinton, but I didn't feel good about it.
Right, but then the argument is, okay, so then you're going to get Trump. That's just where we are in the world. I agree with you.
Ellyn, but if we didn't get Trump, here's the thing. There's people like me that are called accelerationists, and we needed to get fucking bad before it gets better. So we could have.
That's what this is.
No, that's what I mean. So we knew. I didn't vote third party this time, Maggie. Thinking like, I didn't want more of this bullshit conservative crap packaged up in Kamala Harris democracy. Like, I don't want that anymore. So I'm an accelerationist who believes this shit's got to burn right now before we can come back out.
But like, is the world ready? Is our country ready for Pete Buttigieg, a gay man, AOC, a loud, outspoken woman of color, Jasmine Crockett? Like,
Pete Buttigieg is a terrible candidate, but
fair
fair enough. I get your point. I get your point, because he's just an establishment nothing.
Wait,
that's
Buttigieg
where we
take
differ.
AIPAC money?
Wait,
Probably.
say that again. Ellyn, go first.
Yeah, I think he does.
Does Buttigieg take AIPAC money? Thomas knows
I mean,
everyone takes it.
I don't know everybody, but if I had to guess, I would say
I would guess,
so,
yeah.
I know
Gavin
Newsom takes AIPAC money for sure.
Yes, Pete Buttigieg does take money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can everybody, just because maybe some people in the chat don't know, but can we explain to the Maggie? Do you want to explain what AIPAC is?
Yes, AIPAC is the Israeli lobby in America. Very influential in our politics, if not one of the most influential PACs in the United States. And
so there are a lot of Go ahead, sorry.
So recently, with the genocide happening and what's going on in Gaza, a lot of people have picked up on, AIPAC, and why are we sending so much money to Israel? And it's very connected to this lobby group, AIPAC. So there's groups called AIPAC Tracker, if you want to check. They check all of our politicians, how much money they're getting from this Israeli lobby group.
So go over the people who don't take money. Thomas knows.
Just give us a few of them. Yeah.
So, all right. So Graham Plattner out of Maine, right? James Tallarico out of Texas, who I was talking to Maggie last night about this. I'm not a religious person at all, but if I am going to hear, like, you know, I believe that everybody has the right in this country.
He's a great
to be
Texas
religion.
candidate.
He's a great candidate because if I were to believe in a God, that's the God I would want to believe in. Is the way James Tallarico talks about the Bible is the only way it should be. It shouldn't be taken out of context and whatever. But James Tallarico, the truth is there's not enough that don't take AIPAC. There's not. Most of them do.
Yeah. So my partner's not going to take AIPAC. And that's kind of the big thing right now is these candidates know how bad, you know, our public does not want to be involved in Israel anymore. That is a huge generational political shift. So the new thing is like all of these candidates are being challenged by journalists and their constituents. Are you going to take AIPAC money? That is a number one question right now. And it's so important. And that goes to what I was saying, Ellyn, like that comes from just pushing and just like, I never thought in my lifetime as a Jewish New Yorker, we would see a day that Israel's questioned, that AIPAC is questioned.
Yeah.
And so I do have hope. I really do.
Okay, Maggie, can you talk to the audience a little bit about your partner, Greg, and what's going on with him? And I would really like to have Greg on the show also to talk about these issues. So tell the audience who Greg is.
He's more radical than me, so...
Which I can't even understand.
No, but he's running for Congress in Texas 31, and he is running independent because basically the Democrat and Republican in this district are the same exact people, take AIPAC money, do all the same things, nothing. So he's running a working class platform. You know, Texas, obviously, abortion, trans rights, things like that are really heated topics. And he wants to try and bring people together right now on this working class, like actually your pockets. Let's talk about these data centers that are affecting everybody. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican. Let's talk about, you know, taxes and all these things. So I see that is what is coming in our politics. And unfortunately, the Democrat Party doesn't allow room for that. So you have to run independent right now. And giving a vote to those people tells your representatives, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I like what this guy's doing. And it pushes them further. It's so interesting to see these conservative Republicans coming up to him at campaign events being like, you're a really smart guy. We hear, you know, we hear this. And like, did my New York ass ever think I would be agreeing with Texas Republicans and thinking we could like get them to vote for Greg? Never in my life. Never in my life.
Well, I do think that we're getting to a place where there's a lot more that unites us than divides us. I know that's so cliche.
Well, like you and Turtle Boy, right? Like you guys, when you talk about that.
And he's a douchebag. And I really just don't, like, I'm not on the same side as him politically, but we're able to talk about it, which is what I want to do with this show. I want to be able to talk with people. I'm going to probably have Turtle Boy on. And, you know, we're going to talk about these issues and we're going to have a fair and honest debate. We're all friends here and we can sort of yell at each other and we can sort of be like, no, I think you're wrong. I think in this conversation, Maggie and Thomas are probably more aligned and Ellyn and I are probably a little bit more aligned. But the idea that we're educating each other and talking about it is super important. And Maggie, you said something that literally just blew my mind and I hadn't thought about before because I am one of those people who's like, well, I can't take a chance. Like I've got to. I've got to be this way. But when you said, maybe we have to burn it down in order to rebuild. And the only way to do that is to stop lifting up the establishment. That just really spoke to me. And I know that if in 2028, I know that if Gavin Newsom is our nominee, I will not be voting for him.
No, the Democrats they're not learning. If they put him up, they've learned nothing. And that entire party needs to burn.
Let me sit on I was just informed that I play devil's advocate a lot. I didn't know that about myself. But,
you do.
Okay, so my question is, I get it. Thomas and I, remember we were on that hike, babe, and we talked about politics like the whole time, and this is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I grew up with Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Gavin Newsom was my mayor. Okay, agreed on all fronts. then what?
What do you mean? Then
Maggie?
what?
Gavin Newsom Gavin Newsom is our
meaning-
nominee. We're not happy with that. We have Jill Stein or, whoever is our alternate.
I would love it to be a Plattner. What if Plattner ran? He could have a
No, but
huge
what
pull.
Ellen is asking
what I'm
is
saying
if
you have a titan. It doesn't matter if you like him or not. Gavin Newsom is a political titan, and JD Vance. Let's just call it JD Vance,
which is probably what it will be.
Okay, and we have these two, and then we have the independent.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you what's going to happen.
So you think we're going to get 75 million people to vote for an independent?
No, what's going to happen is Gavin Newsom will get, so with the tide of blue that is changing our country right now and people getting on the wagon, Gavin Newsom will become president and nothing will change. We'll still keep sending money to Israel. They'll keep having all the bennies. They'll have, their moms will keep getting a check for having kids, and we'll keep struggling and pay $20 for eggs, and then it'll get worse. Nothing will change until, the Democratic Party is the new Republican Party.
Yes.
The Republican Party is the conservative white national party. And then you have the rest of us who have traveled a bit, maybe left the country, and understand that socialism works. It's not communism, and it's the only way that people can do the best they can for themselves and their country. You look at these other countries, they're not perfect, and they have budget issues and the whole what else are we gonna do? We're gonna keep watching the billionaires fucking get rich, and we're gonna keep sending money to other countries and watch our veterans do heroin and fentanyl. This is America has been like this my whole adult life, and I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of paying out of pocket for everything, and it's the only way there's going to be change. Go ahead. I mean, if I won't be like Maggie, I will not be voting for unless Gavin Newsom makes some big changes. Yeah, I won't be voting that way either. Anyone that takes AIPAC, I'm not voting for them. And if it's a throwaway vote, then it's a throwaway vote.
Ellen, and I agree with you. And I think to answer what would happen,
fear-based. This is all fear-based.
No, yeah, and I think what would happen, a third party would run. I think, Greg is running green actually in Texas. So we know Stein and whatever. I think there are a lot of new parties coming up. So let's see, my dream situation would be a Plattner runs independent, whatever party that is. I will vote for a Plattner happily. I think a lot of people would be. I think it would be like a Bernie wave. And I think that would really push things. And what's going to happen, I don't know. What I do know is I can't keep the status quo. I just can't.
So what did Mamdani do so right? That he came from nothing. He came from nowhere. He ran on a socialist platform. He's brown. He's Muslim. What did he do so right to sway New York?
He talks about working class politics. Yeah. That's what it was. There wasn't, and I know we call it culture wars, and it's not, because yes, it's your life, Mel. It's everyone's. It's all of our lives. Yeah, it's not a culture war, but in the context of politics, he avoided those things. He really tried to talk about you're a New Yorker, and that was this unifying message was we're all New Yorkers. That's how I saw it. With Greg, it's going to be or a flaming leftist. We're all broke right now, and you know who's winning? The people in power, the Epstein class, the oligarchs, the billionaires, and we're not them. And it doesn't matter if you're gay, lesbian, trans, whoever. I'm not going to accept Nazis, but we're all in the same place. And I think that is a message that I think is really, really growing, especially as boomers are dying out and they're not going to be the biggest voting party anymore. I really have hope that we're going to get some good candidates. There's this young Gen Z girl, I don't mean to say girl, woman, Cat Ack something. It's a long, interesting last name, but she is a Gen Z candidate. I think it's Chicago. She is blowing up. People are loving her because she's just doing the Mamdani thing. It's look, I'm here for every single one of you, and I'm not taking
before
Mamdani
was AOC. I will say AOC's campaign was very inspirational.
AOC is who I want to be president. AOC, when I hear her speak, and I watch her, do her videos by herself, and she's just honest and being she seems like anybody that I could shoot the shit with, and
they're teeing her up.
Smart.
If they were smart, they'd run her in 2028.
And zero AIPAC money. AIPAC money.
Let me just throw a whole wrench in the works. You all know me very well. You know I am a feminist. I would lift a woman up. I would, Thomas is.
Her name is Kat Abu Ghazala. Just so and I totally butchered that.
Man that I like. But I feel confident in saying I would vote for AOC in a heartbeat. I feel confident in saying, and I say this from the bowels and the dregs of our country, she will never be president. I don't have enough faith in anyone. The only people I trust are these 4 people on the panel. Okay, literally.
Well, here's the thing with her. I actually don't like her. I find her to be a really weak candidate because I think she's really squishy and soft and will eventually just become an establishment Dem. So I think what you're saying is correct. I think she would get elected and become a squishy establishment Dem. I mean, only recently did she denounce AIPAC. Like, she's really got a lot to learn. However, would I like to see her over a Gavin? Yes.
I think that, and I'm going to say this as a woman of a certain age, older than everyone in this room, it is going to be a very long time before a woman is president in this country.
I do think
this country does not trust women.
Yeah.
And I love AOC, and if she were the nominee, I would vote for her in a heartbeat. I also believe a little differently from you, Ellyn, and I know you're coming from a fear place. You're coming from
I'm terrified.
fear,
I'm not gonna lie.
A fear of the alternative. We do not want JD Vance. I get it.
Yeah.
Because JD Vance is owned by Peter Thiel and the Federalist Society, and that would be terrifying for this country because he's young, and we may never have an election again if he becomes president. But I think that if AOC became the nominee, I think enough people in this country would rally. But I think we would have a very difficult time with the men, because men from the left and the right and the middle have a really hard time with her for some reason. They just have such a hard time with an outspoken woman. And so the people that we would have to work on are the men. And that's where we're going to call on you, Tom.
I feel like when I know, but I feel like when like there's a few countries that are ran by women, correct?
A lot, of course.
But not here.
And, no, I understand that, but like, aren't they doing well, these other countries? And like, don't they seem to be at peace and like, doing all right, and everybody, so like, to me, like, I kind of look at that and I'm like, well, we've had all men and they've all fucked shit up the whole time. How about we give the woman a shot? Like, I don't know, like, it makes sense to me.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
and
you
that's
would
what
think.
We want too.
But like,
how do we convince them?
But there's got to be more men like me. I can't be the only one.
You know what the problem is going to be, though?
Babe,
the first
I've tried
women
them all. You're the only one. I literally have. I have in the name of finding you. I have fucked my way across the country, and you're the only one.
Yeah, you're the only one, Thomas.
I guess so.
I was just going to make a horrible joke. I'm not going to say it. So
you can say
but
it.
I think I was going to say if the dick fits. So anyway. I think the sad part is that the first female president is going to be a conservative Republican. We're going to see some. Do you remember Sarah Palin? I mean, she was really like the closest we got in that Tea Party.
Honestly, I would take Sarah Palin right now. Can someone call Sarah Palin? I would take Sarah Palin.
At this point, I would take Sarah
Nikki
Palin.
Haley now. I mean, I really thought Nikki Haley was going to be their nominee. I really
no, but
did.
I do think that's what's going to happen. I think that the left right now is really crumbling. Like, I think as a party has just completely lost its identity. The establishment doesn't know what to do with all these Gen Z kids that are pretty radical compared to old politics. So I think that the Democratic Party is just having an extreme identity crisis, and I don't think we're going to get a female nominee anytime soon. It's going to be a Republican.
Let me ask you,
Erica Kirk, someone like that. It's going to be someone terrifying.
God.
Lock her up.
What do we think of John Ossoff? Georgia. Anybody?
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah. I mean,
he's making a play right now.
I loved him back in 2020. Like,
he's making a play right now.
Moves in 2020. What is he doing right now?
So he's campaigning right now because his seat is up, and his campaigning is very much like Obama light. Like, he's like the white Obama, basically. And I think people love him there. And I think that he's getting up and he's making good speeches and he's talking about the corruption and he's talking about all the shit. I think he's pretty mainstream. I don't know if he's, if he takes AIPAC, I don't know. He's very charismatic. He's like the less he's the less Hollywood version of probably a Gavin Newsom, but with less money behind him.
He's been on the right side for the correct side for a really long time. I remember in 2020, he was like, a huge win for Georgia, but I haven't heard.
Everybody should go check it out. He's doing a lot of campaigning right now, so you can listen to him talk and you can understand where he's coming from. He's got that sort of he definitely went to the Obama school of speechifying. So he's got that slow, calm, I'm a folksy
so that's
kind of
actually something interesting in talking about these politicians. I was listening. I guess it was a conversation about Plattner and why he's so attractive, even over a Bernie, and it's the Trump effect. He's not a politician. He was a freaking oyster farmer, right?
Yep.
And that is the attractive thing. And I think with people like that, we're just going to start getting more real politics instead of this bought and sold corporate establishment.
I mean, that would be amazing. I was actually, to segue in with journalism too, I find myself turning to more independent journalists.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that needs to be a collective wave. And I have been saying it for forever, but especially what happened last night on Colbert, it's the same thing. Yeah. I think that with the evolution of TikTok and Instagram and how we consume our news, I trust independent journalists more than I trust any
the mainstream
network.
Media is dropping the ball right now. And I started I've been noticing it for a long time, but with the Epstein Files, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? How are we not talking about this? Why are we all still paying taxes? How is the world still turning? Why are we not?
I was going to say before, I don't pay taxes because of Israel. And I will tell you, they do revoke your passport if you go over a certain threshold. So I know that. Ask me why.
So let me tell the audience, for those of you who don't know, about what happened last night on the Stephen Colbert Late Show. So basically, I'm going to just paraphrase this, but Stephen Colbert came out and was like, hey guys, so the legal department, I was planning on having Rep, oh my God, I just lost his name, Tallarico. I was going to have James Tallarico on as my guest. He's a Democrat. He's running in Texas. He seems like a good guy, but the lawyers for CBS have told me that it violates the equal time law. I think it's what it's called, where basically network television, cable television, they have to have, if they're going to have a candidate on, they have to have equal time for the opposite side candidate. But Stephen Colbert is a talk show. So the FCC chair has been rapidly changing the rules. It's what happened with Jimmy Kimmel and the Charlie Kirk situation.
It was Barry Weiss.
Yeah, it's Barry Weiss again.
That's who it is.
I'm so
Trump made a call. Trump made a call. That's it.
Yeah, Trump made a call, and basically just a short time before he was supposed to come on and interview Tallarico, they said, "Sorry, buddy, you can't do it." So Colbert went on, and he was like, "Fuck it, I'm on my way out." So he was like, "So the lawyers tell me I can't interview Tallarico," and then he just went on to talk about it and say all the things. He wasn't even supposed to mention his name. He wasn't supposed to show his picture, any of this stuff. He did end up doing the interview with him, but he had to do it off air, and they did release it on their YouTube. And the thing is, I don't think that Trump understands, but he just elected Tallarico in Texas because over 4 million, 6 million, something like that, people have already watched this interview. And they talk about it specifically in the interview that the federal government is starting to wean its way into. Yeah. So
censorship.
Yeah. What do you guys think about it? Thomas, you go first.
Go first, babe.
This whole thing,
babe.
It's so cute.
Yeah, babe.
Thanks, babe. It's
gross.
It's scary that they're able to do it, first of all, and quiet people. And I think that it's going to swing people to vote for James Tallarico as a Democrat, and I think it's actually good for the Democrats. I think it's because he's a Bible thumper.
It's so funny. This is happening to Tallarico. I was talking with Greg about that today. We're this is just funny because he's just such a not a scandal guy.
No,
It's just
like,
funny.
wait, didn't you say this? He's like, I'm James. No, your partner said, I'm James Tallarico.
Yes,
Like it's
yes.
Yeah, he's just like a nice,
just a nice guy. And now he's got this scandal. But yeah, it's gonna help him for sure.
Yeah.
Wait, and the one thing I don't know is he running against Jasmine Crockett or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the incumbent.
They
She's
have
the
there's two
incumbent.
seats. There could be two Democrats.
No,
Right,
is he running for a different seat than Jasmine Crockett, or is he running against
No, it's the
her?
same seat. They're running against each other.
Yeah, that's what I
Wait,
thought.
is
And
there
that's
an open seat in Texas though? Are there two open seats?
No, I think
they're
Jasmine
running
Crockett
against
is up
each other.
for
I think.
election.
Yeah, I think she's the
That's
incumbent.
the only thing I feel bad about because I love Jasmine Crockett. I absolutely love her.
I love Jasmine Crockett too. She's the
Someone
shit.
in the chat will tell us because I saw someone say they want Jasmine Crockett, so maybe they'll know.
Is there somebody whose seat is not up this year in Texas?
I gotta get my charger.
Guys,
I don't.
I just moved here. I don't even. Texas is
Also,
crazy. Trying to figure
Maggie's
it all
in
out.
Austin, which is like its own different state
It
inside
is,
of
it
Texas
is.
too. So yeah,
It is.
I mean,
But-
I just think that it follows the playbook.
Yeah.
It follows the playbook of controlling the media, propaganda.
Ah.
Hitler, was because there was like an economic world crisis, he was able to kind of like exploit that. It follows the playbook. That's what Hitler did. He controlled the media and he put out propaganda. He's ticking off the box.
This is even more interesting than I thought it was, but the chat is saying that Jasmine Crockett is running for Senate. They are both running for the same seat, and
Yes.
it's Cornyn's seat. And Cornyn is running for governor. Is that right?
Corn.
Is that right, my Texas people?
Unclear.
I thought I heard something today. So Ken Paxton,
No.
Ken Paxton and Cornyn are running against each other, and I think it's for governor.
Ken Paxton's the AG.
Yes, he's also
But the
paid out that
governor
huge
is
settlement.
Abbott, and I don't think Abbott's been
I think
forever.
I think it's Abbott, Paxton, and Cornyn are running to be governor.
Oh,
And
boy.
Trump said they're all three are great candidates. I can't support, I can't say who I would pick out of the three. So I think they're all running for governor. And what it sounds like from the chat is that Crockett is now running for Cornyn's seat, and so is Tellerico.
Tellerico, yeah. So they're both running for Senate.
It's
a very interesting race. It's become like national in Texas, which is so crazy.
Yeah, and who's the guy who just won the local race, who won by several points in a district that Trump won by 17.
Yeah,
and he's
I
a
forgot.
local. I can't remember what his name is, but that was pretty big news. And I just remember all the mainstream news outlets were like, "Oh shit, Texas, there's a blue wave coming," and I'm like, "Don't get too excited, you guys."
They've always said that.
I know. Well, that's because it's what they all want. So we're going to start wrapping this up here, guys. I do want to get to some of the comments. And before I get to your weird news that you've seen in the past week or so, I want to go through. Oh, Lola. Hello.
Mommy, I think Shay has a prom date.
Okay.
Sorry.
Bye.
Okay, bye. News.
Love
This is
you.
a news program. Shay has a prom date. So I'm going to run through a few of the comments. I starred a bunch of them throughout this whole conversation. So let's see.
Oops.
Well, Amy said that she's here to support me, and I love Amy. She's on all my platforms, and I appreciate her. Chris Stenton, who's one of my favorite guys in the chat. Yeah, he said, I would have said the SAVE Act is wildly unconstitutional a few years back, but it seems the Constitution isn't really important anymore, huh? I'd have to agree with that, Chris.
Very good point.
Here's a question for Thomas. Thomas, do you find it hard to know your place in situations like this? And I'm assuming that Rage Knitter is talking about situations where you are surrounded by three very strong women.
No, it actually came through
Thomas,
talking
you
about
find it-
him at work and around
at
all
work.
the Trumpers. Yeah, I think that's when it came through.
Oh,
Well-
I took it like that too. I took it
Why
like
don't
being
you
around
answer
three
both?
women.
Why don't you answer
I
both?
mean, Thomas, do you know? I don't know how to take that. I mean,
It was
so-
asked during the work stuff.
I mean, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, and if you have a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you. Shoot your shot. I'm not worried about people. If something's wrong, I'm gonna let you know it's wrong. If you're being homophobic, I'm gonna have something to say about it. And if you don't like it and you don't like me, then go the fuck away. I don't know what to tell you. And I don't care what the age is, what the,
He's so New York. I think I say the exact same quotes. We're from the same town on Long Island. So it's like we say the same things.
Thomas, how do you feel sitting on a screen with 3 very strong opinionated women? How do you feel about that? Talking about
he feels like his rights are being taken away as he sits there.
Thomas, you're not going to be able to vote this year, buddy.
Sucks for me. I mean, I don't know. I'm comfortable. I don't want to get into all my trauma and trauma dump, but I don't like men typically, and I don't trust them. Men have done me very dirty in my life too, just like men have done you guys dirty. So, I'd rather be a little quiet and stay off. And you guys are smarter than me anyway. This is what you guys do. So
that's very sweet of you. I have another
right
comment.
Answer.
That was the right answer. I have another chat comment that's directed at to Thomas. Hopes Rose says, my husband is a union concrete finisher and he's so sick of listening to his MAGA coworkers day after day. Crazy that union people are that MAGA, but they refuse to admit they're wrong. Do you agree with that, Thomas? That union people, it's crazy that union people are MAGA?
Well, yeah. I mean, unions have always been backed by the Democratic Party. They've always support, like when Hillary Clinton was running, we, got letters in the mail, asking for her support. And but besides like the Democratic Party, right, like the working class and, I know this is really hard for a lot of these guys to understand, but unions, there would be no unions without socialism. So welcome to socialism, like enjoy your paycheck and your benefits and your retirement. And that's, I work to pay for the retiree that is retired right now, right? And then the apprentice that's just finishing up the school, he's going to pay for me. And that's how it works. So I think that, sadly, I think that a lot of construction workers are fairly uneducated. And that doesn't mean that they're not good at what they do, but they're uneducated. And they don't understand what the difference is between communism and socialism.
Yes.
And if we all have computers in our pockets.
This is a fact.
Just type it into AI and it'll break it down for you exactly what socialism is and communism. And you don't have to agree with all of it, but if you're a union member, and you're voting Republican, you were voting against your best interest.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Because
Ellyn,
they want to make all these states right to work states.
Yes.
Absolutely. Ellyn, stop looking at him like that. We are in public.
What am I doing?
Guys, my phone is
room.
going to die any second, and my daughter took my charger, so I don't even have a charger in my room.
Okay, tell us your crazy story of the week, and if we lose you, I'll keep going with the chat here, and then we're going to jump off in like 10 minutes or so. What's your crazy story of the week? Do you hear anything in the news that was wild? If you don't have one, it's
here's
fine.
the thing. I did write something down, but I don't know how legit it was. But I saw that China was killing child molesters. I thought that was a great idea.
That's sick.
Yeah. I'm pretty
sure Greg wanted to run on a platform, Guillotines 2026, and I was like, that shows your colors a little too much. Might not go well in Texas.
But it's so funny, right? Like people love to act like they're so hard, and then I'm like I don't. If you're a child molester, fucking death penalty.
The French kill their politicians. I'm pretty sure we should get there. We should get there as a country.
I mean, we would not be if we. I'm going to stay away from that comment. Never mind.
We'll take it offline.
Thomas, I think me and Greg will have so much to talk about when we meet in person, and Ellyn can roll her eyes at us. She's going to be like, you guys are all so crazy.
No,
I know. I
I'm
want to be
definitely
that
quiet.
crazy. I want to be that crazy.
All right, babe,
I am
come on. Come to
It takes a lot of it takes a lot of courage.
It does.
No.
But it takes a lot of unlearning, right, Ellyn? Because I was the same.
I get it. I'm on board. I am just terrified of more of the same. My nervous system has not been regulated for a very long time. This Epstein thing, you can ask, it is really, really affected me. And I just don't have faith in people. I always think about the middle people that we need, the people that can go either way. And they're like, okay, here is Gavin Newsom. He's a lifetime politician. And then there's this, wacky, black lady from Texas. And I want that. I speak from a place of fear. I am constantly terrified. It's not that I don't want the same things. I would love a social society. My ex-husband was from England. I saw how socialized medicine works. I get it. I'm just terrified of living in more of this. It's all fear-based.
I completely agree. And that's what I was saying. It takes a lot of courage to be, to think like Maggie. And Thomas, I believe that it takes a lot of courage for you to think the way that you do too. But I'm going to make the distinction that Maggie has it harder because she's a woman. Like, men are allowed to have these like sort of like out there theories and ideas, not out there, but you know what I mean? Like, but when women do, like, we're put into a whole like, okay, lady, just calm down. Like, you're being crazy kind of thing.
Yeah, we're crazy. We're on our periods.
Before we lose Thomas, I want to put this one comment out here because I think it's interesting and I'd like to hear your thoughts. Jayma O'Connor, I think. Jayma. What are your thoughts about identifying ICE employees? If I had thought they needed to be shown, but after victim names were not redacted from the Epstein files and we feared for their safety, ICE has families too. Oh, Maggie.
I think that if you are going to choose to be in law enforcement, whether that's federal or on a state level or county, then you need to show your face.
Yes.
And there's too much dirt. I mean, they've been dirty for the whole time. Like there's not like it's like they came in and they were like soft in the beginning. They've been dirty the whole time. And you see video after video of them going overboard and crossing lines and the way that they even talk, like you're not supposed to talk to the people like that. And it doesn't matter if they're immigrants or not immigrants. You're law enforcement, they have a code that they're supposed to follow. And I want to know who they are.
Also, victims didn't choose to be victims. ICE agents chose to be ICE agents. They had to apply and I don't know, do 5 hours worth of homework or something. And then they got that. And if you're going to go out there,
there are risks that come with the job and your family potentially being at risk. Yes, you sign up for that. Everyone knows that.
It's the whole argument of Blue Lives Matter. Do I think that like being a cop is a dangerous job? And Thomas and I argue about this all the time. I do know a couple of really great cops, but you choose to wear your blue uniform. You don't choose to be black. So when they were equating the Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter, it was like, you guys are, you're not getting it,
and ICE agents, if they're willing to accept that $50,000 bonus to become an ICE agent and have their student debt erased by the current administration, they can show their fucking faces.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cops have to. They have to show their faces.
Well, that'll probably go away soon.
Yeah. Rage Knitter says that they think that McConnell has been dead for years. I'd probably agree with that. Let's see. A couple more comments. So a lot of people are like, I'm getting my papers in order right now. Yeah. Did you ever think you'd live in America where people are carrying their papers with them? People are being asked for their papers and people are getting their papers ready just so they can vote.
What are we doing in Germany? They did it.
Yeah. I said, did you believe it?
No. Right. But like, this is what everyone was screaming about. And I wonder, by Thomas, I wonder if you guys feel the same. I actually really want a temperature check with this because I vacillate between saying, this is what we were screaming about. Everyone says it was an open book test. You all should have known. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like we have to have a certain amount of compassion and say, okay, you were brainwashed. Thank you for unplugging from the matrix. Here, let me shepherd you through this. So I go back and forth. Like, how do you guys manage? Because I have such disdain for those people that didn't listen to us, but I also want to have empathy and understand, cult mentalities, brainwashing tactics, and, people who don't have the education or the capabilities to step outside of their echo chambers. Like, how do you guys sort of like qualify that?
It's so hard. I was going to say, Mel, maybe you can help answer that first because
I'm
I'm
like,
not
Maggie, you
sure.
go first.
But you know what I mean? It's like I'm so
Yeah.
mad at them, but like we
Yes.
can't just alienate them and be like,
No.
Here, go swim in 8 feet with no swimmies. I don't know.
I think that I hate to sound cliche, but I really think that we've got to start talking to people in person. I think that we spend a lot of our time online, and that might be like a Gen X thing for me, but I feel like, Ellen, you and Thomas and I talked about this when you guys were here for Thanksgiving. We spend so much time being anonymous online, and even you and I are anonymous when we're typing something into Twitter or we're typing something into Facebook or whatever we're typing into. We have the audacity and the courage to type what we're typing. But would you say those things to a person if you were sitting in a room with them? This is part of the reason why I wanted to start the show, because I felt like we're doing that thing where we just go to our polar opposites. We say our opinions, we walk away from it, and we don't know who it's affecting. And we're not saying it. We're losing something by not being in person, is what I'm trying to say. And it started during the pandemic. It started a little bit before that, but the pandemic really hit it home for me. Was like when I was isolated with just me and the dog for like a year, and I didn't have human contact or touch or a hug or anything like that. I changed as a human being. My cells changed. And I think that that's what's happening in our politics, is our cells are changing. And we got to get back into the same room with each other.
Yeah, Kelly said Ellen would. Yeah, I
think it's so
oddly
interesting.
like putting people on the spot.
I think it's so interesting that it goes back to kind of like this Epstein created divided culture that we live in. If we're going to believe that him and Ghislaine, which I do, kind of started this whole culture war. It's really, I do think so much of it is manufactured. And I think that, again, yes, if you're in the room with someone, I think the reason is because you also learn the truth about that person. There are people that have been manufactured to think literally the frogs are being turned gay. Like there are just some crazy things that have come from this internet society that I think when you meet a Mel and you meet a gay woman, you're like, oh, wait, she's not doing these fucked up satanic. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, yes, I agree with you, Mel. And I think that's like the extra layer to it.
Yeah. I just think that we're getting to a place where, sorry, I'm messing around with everything. We're just getting to a place where if we keep going down this road of not, of basically living by bumper stickers, the only way that I can think. Like the bumper stickers used to be social media, right? If you had an opinion, a political opinion, you would slap a sticker on your car so that everyone around you knew that you voted a certain way. Now we just post it. Now we like embed ourselves in these opinions and we do it publicly. We do it all day. But I know that there are so many spaces in this country where when I walk into a room, I'm like, I can't tell anyone here I'm a liberal. I'm going to get attacked. And I'm sure that there are places where, I hate to even say it, but there are people that walk in who are MAGA, who are like now scared to be MAGA, which good, they should be. But like, we shouldn't be like that. We should be able to like have debates and honest and like ethical debates like this, like whataboutism and gaslighty shit. I am so over how the pundits debate each other on these mainstream media. It's so disgusting. It's so psychologically fucked up.
Well, I think
and I'm
that's
just sick
the
of
thing.
it.
I think that too is, I think a lot of younger folks are wanting more nuance and not just this bumper sticker announcement of who I am, whether it's a politician or whatever. Right. I think people just want that nuance so much more now.
I agree. And I will say I have been known to come for Democrats because I feel like there are so many people on the outskirts who might want to unplug, who might want to, learn more, but we don't make it very easy. Right. And I say, I really do try and go out of my way. I converse with anyone who slides into my DMs. This one woman got really heated the other day. I was like, bye-bye, Robin. But I do think that the Democrats, I've given this example before. My old neighbors, I used to call them muggles, and they're like, just white, plain, vanilla people. I love them to death. And one day they sat me down and they asked me what non-binary was. And they said, because we're too scared to ask, and we don't know anyone who's non-binary. We know it's a thing. Explain it to me. But they were scared to ask people, and I blame the Democrats for that.
Yeah, no,
because
for sure.
too.
Instead of like, let me explain this to you. We're like, how dare you fucking not like, not me. I'm not like that. I do not identify
think
myself.
that comes from, I've thought about this a lot, that 2016 Hillary Clinton era. There was this very specific era I remember of like liberalism, and it was like the woke era. It was that era. And like, so now we're in this, like what they're calling like post woke. And I am so glad we're here because I think that was such a bad time. Canceling it was the cancel culture, canceling people. You said this. There weren't bullying. There wasn't honest discussions. I'm so glad we are over that and like have room for mistake now. And I think, like Mel said, like if we just talk to each other more and have more grace, you know, Ellen, your question was just about how angry you are, and like totally. And I think we have to. That is our issue that we have to deal with, because we need to have the grace to accept these people if they want to come and learn, you know?
It is literally...
I'm the angriest person on the planet. So for me to say that, it's really hard.
Yeah. But it's sort of my like white whale right now, because everyone's like, oh, fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm like, you know what? If she's able to get on camera and say, I am sorry. I made the wrong choice, and here are the reasons why I did. And now I'm going to try to do the right thing in the only way that I can do, which is to speak out against this president and tell you everything he said to me. I may not agree with her on trans rights. I may not agree with her on a lot of other things. I will accept her tomorrow because she had the courage to stand up and say, I was wrong. And now I want to change people's minds and hearts. And we have got to like, we've got to build a big tent and bring these people in, because at the end of the day, it is literally you, me, Marjorie Taylor Greene against the elites. So come on.
That's it. Like, well, you guys know I'm big in gun culture, and one of the biggest ways this world nation actually comes together is over guns. Now you got leftists and conservatives that are all loving this shit. But oh gosh, I was going to say something with that. Now I don't remember. Continue.
Guns. Well, actually, I want to get into...
said that,
I'm sorry.
I said that yesterday to my mom. I said, how did Marjorie Taylor Greene do it, do you think? How did she unplug from the Matrix? And that is what we have to do. We have to meet people where they are. And to your point, Mel, about talking to people, I say this all the time. We have to remember that it is us against the elites, because when you look at a person and you're standing in line at Trader Joe's and you don't know how they voted, we all want the same thing.
Yes.
We want to take care of our family. We want to laugh. We want to eat good food. We want to travel. We want to be healthy. We all want the same things. And it is those elites who have systematically divided us over these years. The Jeffrey Epsteins, the Donald Trumps. And guess what? Bravo, gentlemen. You did a bang up job.
Yes.
Fucking
it's worked
everything up.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. At the end of the day, where it's going to be, you know, the people that crossed over fighting next to pink hair trans folks, and we're all just, you know, or we're all going to be standing there next to each other.
We saw this happen with the Karen Reed trial, because the people who were standing outside of that courthouse, all wearing pink, some of them were wearing MAGA hats, and some of them had purple hair and were trans, and they were all on the same side. And it's like, that was just like a breaking open for me when I started to realize that, like, okay, when we have this sort of either common enemy, and I think common enemy is great. Like, we can have a common enemy. Like, let's get together over our common enemy, which is the elitists and the pedophiles. I'm good with that. Like, I will walk beside, like, I get along so well with Lindsay's family in West Virginia. I love her dad. He's completely accepted me, and they're all MAGA. For Christmas, they all got Charlie Kirk t-shirts that say freedom on them.
Oh my God.
And I love those motherfuckers. And let me tell you, they love me. And it's like, they were like, this is the first time that they've been around a lesbian, like, who is like, I grew up the same way that Lindsay grew up. So I fit right in on the farm. Like, I can go out and shoot guns with her dad. I can go out and drive a tractor. I can do all these things. And they're like, oh, well, Mel's cool. Like, and then it opens everything up, you know? So
it
anyway,
does. It's
ladies, we've been going at it for almost 2 hours. I want to wrap it up.
So bad.
2 hours. Oh, we got out
welcome to lesbianhood, where 2 hours is the minimum, girls.
God, kill.
You know
I'd
what?
rather die.
I don't need your agenda pushed in my face. I don't need your lesbian agenda.
Oh, please, Ellen.
I pay more at the pump. Anyway.
The pump. Do you guys have any kind of weird stories that you heard about this week that you want to share with the audience?
Yes, I want to give it quick because I do really have to pee.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone
That's
saw
where I
it.
was
Just
before.
Google it. The El Paso airspace was closed for 10 fucking days,
yes.
which has never happened in the history ever except 9/11, and it was like a day. So what the hell is going on in El Paso? I'll tell you right now. It's aliens. That's what I have to say. They are finally fucking here, and it's
I love you, Maggie.
there we go.
I'm just like,
I thought it was a party balloon. Wasn't it a party balloon that they were shooting
That
down?
was iteration 5 of what they said it was. So no, it wasn't a party balloon. And 10 days.
It's hilarious. That story, though. Yeah.
It's aliens.
No, but they said it was
Someone write that
DHS. They said it was this is the official now story. DHS got new laser technology, and they were testing it off and didn't give enough airspace warning. So instead they shut down the airspace for 10 days just out of precaution. That is the official story. And they know that DHS is so fucking stupid. We would believe that. So just putting it out
Laser
there.
beams. I would like to say that I was really pretty sure that Diddy wasn't in the Epstein Files, but I knew Jay-Z was, and I've been saying for years that Jay-Z is going to go down just like Diddy. And then I read an article, I can't corroborate it, but it's funny, that there was something in the files that Epstein referred to Diddy as his competition, which is disgusting to think about.
Oh my God.
Diddy from prison was like, see, I wasn't even in the files and I'm in prison. Bitch, you are exactly where you belong. But basically, Diddy was the Black Epstein, so they never crossed paths.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
there was
Okay.
that was something
We're doing the
noticeable
same
in the
thing.
files. Not a lot of black folks in the files.
I know Maggie has to pee. That's where I went before when I was like, be right back. So the only thing I want to say is that apparently Canada cheated in curling at the Olympics.
I
Did you
heard.
see that he like pushed it with his finger? I don't
Fucking
understand
nuts.
curling, but I was
don't
like,
either.
Canada, I love you guys. What are you doing? I didn't know you cheated at stuff. I thought that was a really funny story.
Clive
and also
Davis
it was
is
like,
not in the Epstein Files. No. Clive Davis was running his own thing. He did not run with Epstein. Next time I'm on, Mel, can we talk about Michael Jackson the whole time?
yes.
I want to say
Yes.
he's been exonerated, right? The Epstein Files exonerated him. Is that what we're saying?
We think that he's been. Well, Ellen has
have a
an
lot.
interesting story to tell. We can definitely talk about that anytime you want to come on, Ellen.
Can you text me about it, Ellen?
Yeah.
All right.
I love
Maggie's
you
gotta
guys.
pee.
Thank you for
You're
having
I
me.
know I got to pee. I'm getting like all fidgety. Okay.
All
It's
right.
okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on my first show, and I
Love
definitely would like to have
you.
you back. And we want Greg on. Thank you. Love you.
Yes,
Mwah.
and
Love
thank you
you
everyone
guys.
that's supporting
Bye, Kat.
Greg. I saw that. Bye.
Love you.
Bye. Ellen,
Yeah.
it's just
What?
you and me.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Are we still live?
We are. I'm gonna end
Oh.
the stream though. If you want to hang out in the backstage for just a second, but everybody, I love you very much. Please go like the video, get the algorithm going. Please tell everybody
Someone
about.
said, is this weekly or monthly? I know you're going to have I really want to be on when you have some kind of a Republican on.
I'll probably have Turtle Boy on. I
He
also
bugs me. He's so
I know.
loud. He bugs me.
but I've been having a lot of like our listeners from Something's Off be like, hey, I have this guy Joe I want you to talk to. So it
Yeah.
might just be a lot of like dudes who I've never heard of before who want to come on and debate. It might be
I
something like
kind
that.
of love that. You could be
I
like
love
the
it.
gay Dean Withers.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Just
So
eviscerate him.
I would really love to do this weekly. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to with my schedule of the other two shows. I would love to do it weekly. But worst case scenario, it's going to be bi-monthly. Is that right? Is it bi-monthly? Is that twice a month or is that every 2 months?
I stopped listening. I don't know what you're saying.
I know you did.
You
All right.
said
I love you.
bye so many times. It really felt homophobic.
Goodbye, Ellen. I love you all. Thank you so much. We will be back soon and I will let you know exactly when that's going to happen. Love you. Bye.